The directing in Shadow's House is incredible. The visual atmosphere, the way they incorporate 2D and 3D. If I'm not mistaken, the hourglass that Edward flips saying that it will be a 2 hour countdown, I'm pretty sure that was 3D, but the way they blended it with everything, it was so seamless you couldn't even really tell unless you really looked at it. This show and how it presents the mystery of the Shadows family is really second to none in this season. There's an uncertainty with the eeriness in every which angle. And last week I said it, I wasn't sure, would Emilko be the greatest asset or foil to whatever was about to happen, and it feels like a bit of both. On one hand, had she not been the one to encourage people to eat and find things, they probably would still be sitting in that room. But on the flip side, it does feel like she is making decisions that could impact Kate and her negatively, given some of the grins that Edward had. It seems like his mission is to purposely fail Kate, and Emilko is the type of character who's actually foiling his plans, but he did seem oddly happy that she picked the cart. I'm not sure if I'm reading too much into that, but it did feel to me like he was pleased, which things he was saying before he started saying, hey, based on your rank, you can pick whichever item. I don't think he wants her to pick things that will benefit her, so it'll be interesting, though it was totally in character. I thought she was going to get the bread and there'd be like a secret key inside the bread because no one would think to pick up a loaf of bread after they just ate to get out. But instead she picked a cart, which she probably just thought it was cute, but along the way, anything she finds, like oranges, she can store in the cart for Mistress Kate. Totally in character for her, but it feels like the bundle of sunshine might be something that could be a shortcoming for Kate's escape or passing of the trial. So to finally see like the adults in the Shadow family just look in, I'm not sure if they're using the crows like as if they made them into soot crows so they could watch, but they literally have a board that maps where they're going. It's pretty creepy. I mean, they definitely give me a more positive reaction than some of the dolls we've seen, but I mean, it does feel like this is one big game to them, and what's the purpose, and really, why does Edward need to fail Kate and Emilko? Like, I don't understand where this is coming from. It feels like there's some higher-ups who are definitely very scared of what Kate can do, even though it does seem like there's other members, like the fact that John seemingly was able to use soot to explode out of the crate. It doesn't feel like most people should be aware of the soot powers as much as she currently does without some higher up knowledge being passed down to her. Hard to say though, but I mean, for an episode that really was isolating and creepy, they had some pretty funny moments throughout it as well. I mean, the constant bickering between Ricky and Sean, I love. I mean, they're so polar opposite, but I think they butt heads so much because there is a very similar personality trait. I think one of the best examples is when, basically because they're both the same rank, they get to pick at the same time, but they both firmly believe the other wants their item, but they wanted the complete different thing, so they're making an issue out of nothing. The constant butting heads, even though Ricky can seem like a prick at times, there is a general humorous aura around him when he's not near his master. Like the fact that when, he's trying to figure out like, oh shit, I was mocking someone for picking up a lantern because it's daylight, but I really wish I had a lantern. In comes a giant hedge clippers to the face. I'm gonna use you. Yeah, okay, this kind of makes sense, but if you do anything bad, I'll buzz cut you. And I'm like, holy shit, this man gets roped into so many hilarious situations that generally have him on the short end of the stick. It starts with him being a prick to others, but it kind of ends with him being the punching bag. And it's absolutely fantastic for that. Though I have to say Rum's been definitely an underdog of this season, where initially I wasn't overly fond of her, but the idea of her having like this little thing around her finger so that she can speak through it, even though it really is just her talking, and the fact that she decided to help and encouraged her to let her help push up the cart through the hill, because she is kind of tired of being pushed around and being a weakling, and Emilko recognizes that she was trying to do too much by herself. So it's interesting how these two characters who you think would be polar opposites actually need the other in order to overcome their own shortcomings. Emilko taking on too much and burdening herself, where someone like Rum isn't encouraged enough to stand her own ground because she feels put down or just like a failure, right? To just see the test and how it continued to evolve, I really thought when Emilko was talking about how like we should do this, I was like, either this is going to cause her and Kate to be completely screwed over, or this is going to be the greatest blessing, and it kind of felt like both. Though the unexpected marriage proposal, I mean, this boy's amazing. He comes in saying, hey, I can help you out, but you're gonna marry me. Alright, well, if you do escape by yourself, I'll put you as my equal and we'll readjust this marriage arrangement. I mean, there's no chill to some of these characters. Some are just absolute pricks. Like, Edward seems like a prick, but I mean, you wouldn't have him any other way. he's a character that definitely throws an uncertainty into the equation, which I really enjoy. And I'm very curious to see, like, what is, like, his hatred towards Kate and Emilico. Like, what's driving that? Why did his master probably tell him to do that? It seems like he's also being judged all at the same time. But for literally an episode that starts in a very comfy room, they're eating their fill of sweets, transitioning into a horrifying maze where, honestly, you're kind of expecting something bad was going to pop up and Resident Evil 8 you or something, right? You know, you're just kind of walking through a house and things got a little too creepy for your liking. But to see this episode and just how it constantly felt like something was watching, the fact that they actually confirm it in this episode rather than leaving you saying, oh, was it just our imagination? Were they directing us to mislead us? No, they're literally being watched. And I like how characters like Kate are questioning, should I use my powers? Or would that be something that would screw me in the long term? It does feel to me, though, she did do the soot signal, because we do see Emilico see it in the distance. It feels to me that Kate was doing that as a way to probably signal Emilico, because she recognizes this girl, Bundle of Sunshine, is not going to be able to make a hedge maze by herself. Like, let's just be honest. Emilico is not going to be able to do that. She'll get distracted. She'll pick oranges. She'll never be able to save her. Ricky is probably one of the more shocking elements of this episode because I really didn't have too strong of an opinion on him whenever we saw him, right? He kind of just seemed like an asshole, but it does feel to me like when he's not around his Shadow Master and he's in situations that really kind of throw him for a loop, it feels to me like he becomes a more entertaining addition than just kind of that arrogant shithead. But it's interesting because one of the questions I saw a lot of people bring up last week was why did he get mad at them dancing when he was playing piano? And it turns out he simply was just trying to calm his nerves, and people are just throwing him for a loop, which made him lose his nerve, hence the demotion, which was like, oh, I didn't see that one coming, I gotta admit. It does feel to me, though, the way they're going, I don't think Kate and Emilico will be eliminated. I think they won't be the best outcome, but I think they'll be like the top 3, it feels like. Who will lose? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if no one loses, but if someone does, I think it might either be Rum or Ricky's group. One of those two. It just feels like that's the natural, like, gut reaction. Ricky's a little too arrogant. He might have his head up his own ass. Rum, just because she is a little more soft and timid. One of those two I could see losing, but it does feel to me like, just based on the transitions and how, like, they're really putting the focus on Emilico and Kate kind of going against what people are expecting, could very well benefit them, but it could also crash and burn, right? Overall, I leave Shadow's House even more impressed both on the production value, how they're directing literal shadows and the incorporation of 2D and 3D. The cam work's fantastic, the distortions on some of the faces to make it feel like we're inside the hourglass. It was just a very trapped and isolated feeling episode with some focus on mystery and just making my mind race all the more while appreciating literally every character that appeared on screen in this episode. Incredible stuff, excited for the second half of the season and where it's going to go from here, but let me know your thoughts and feelings and definitely those theories down below. No idea what's the purpose of this truly other than maybe entertainment, but then again, this show's thrown us so many curveballs, anything's possible, right? If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, share your support, and hit that subscribe button if you happy new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.